I'm not sure if the Mariners are going to sell at the deadline, but they are kind of falling behind in the standings, hovering around 500, and their offense has not performed the way they had hoped it would. The GM kind of hinted at looking to get better for 2024 if things don't turn around. Still looking to get better in 2023 as well. They're currently 5.5 games back in the wild card. The Mariners did just trade for Teoscar Hernandez this past offseason, but he's 30 years old. He'll be 31 in October, and he'll be a free agent after the season. So he's a rental. That might make him a little bit more affordable. And he's definitely a guy who can provide some pop. Over the last 6 seasons, he's hit 136 home runs. That comes out to about 32 home runs over 162 games. And if you do it by plate appearances, he's hit about 24 home runs per 500 plate appearances and then 29 home runs per 600 plate appearances. He's also had a pace of about 35 doubles per 162 games over the past 3 seasons. I mentioned per 162 because he's been on the field for 678 games out of a possible 708. Do the math, he's only missed 30 games in the past 6 years. That's insane. Knock on wood, he hasn't missed a game in 2023 yet. He's played in all of them. And he's been around a 260 hitter, but he's also been around a 500 slugging percentage for his career. Near the top of the league in hard hit percentage, exit velocity, and expected slugging almost year in and year out. This year has not been as great. He's hitting just 243 with a 724 OPS. Advanced stats suggest that'll improve a little bit. Worth noting, he'd have 19 home runs if he played every game in Citizens Bank Park this year, so I'm sure he would welcome that. He's also had a tough month of July so far. After a red-hot June, he did just hit a home run yesterday. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. But it's also hard to ignore the strikeout and walk rates for Teoscar. Look, I like his game, but oh my gosh, he strikes out a lot. I mean, he had a strikeout rate north of 30% in 4 of the past 6 years. In 2021, it was at its lowest at 24.9%. Keep in mind, that's at its lowest. And last year, it was 28.4%. So even the 2 years it was lower, it still wasn't necessarily the best. His walk rate has been at 6-ish% in each of the past 4 seasons, and he chases a lot, especially on the slider. I will say, though, this year specifically, he hits lefties very well. That's something we're looking for. 6 home runs, 19 RBIs, an 870 OPS and a 130 OPS plus in 87 plate appearances versus lefties this year. And in his career, he has a 121 OPS plus versus lefties. The Phillies would probably still lead the league in strikeouts versus lefties, but they'd get some much needed pop from the right side regardless. And I also appreciate how good he is with runners in scoring position. In his career, he's a 280 hitter with an 878 OPS with runner in scoring position. And in 2023, he's hitting 313 with runners in scoring position. And over the last 3 years, he's hit 294 in those situations. In 2022, he ranked 36th among all hitters in clutch rating on Fangraphs. He was 14th among outfielders in that mark. This year, that mark has been down along with the rest of his numbers, but it might make it the right time to buy lower on him. Like I said, he's still hitting well with runners in scoring position. I still think he's a guy who's going to be able to knock some runners in and who's going to come up in some spots and deliver when we need him to. Defensively, despite his speed and arm, he hasn't necessarily been known as a great defender over the years. He does make some errors from time to time. Hasn't had great metrics in the past, but this year he's actually graded out well in right field. First year, I think he's positive and outs above average as a whole. He's actually graded out well in left field in the last couple seasons, though he hasn't played significant innings there necessarily since 2021. He played a little bit there last year, but regardless, I'm sure he'd be an upgrade over Schwarber. He still takes good routes to the baseball, and he gets to the baseball in enough time, and his arm can make up for reaction time. 55 career outfield assists, 5 fielder runs responsible for over the last 5 years, and he also ranks 14th among all outfielders in arm rating on Fangraphs for this year, and he has in past years. He's been near the top of the leaderboard in arm rating. Overall, I really like Teoscar as a fit for the Phillies. I think it would make sense. I'd like to see what he could do working with Kevin Long for a little bit, even if it's just a couple months. We have a good idea of the player Teoscar is at this point, so the nice thing is there wouldn't be a ton of questions. The only question would really be if he can turn it on over the last few months of the season and kind of turn around his season a little bit. And even then, he's not having a terrible season. It's just not up to his usual performance. The fact that he's not performing super well this year, combined with the fact that he's a rental, that might make him a little bit cheaper. But really, the price is going to depend on what the Mariners see themselves doing this year. If they kind of go halves and decide to both buy and sell, he might be an option. Or if they just sell, he could be an option. But it really depends on their plans. If they're not really looking to sell, then it's going to be an interesting conversation because the price might be up a little bit if they're still looking to buy and be in the race. But if they are looking to sell, maybe the price will go down a little bit and they'll be a little more willing to move them. But thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know your guys' thoughts on Teoscar Hernandez and ring the bell. God bless y'all. Appreciate all the support, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.